Welcome back, my fellow enthusiasts. We are here with another Moo-U to throw that education back into the people, and let's learn about terpenes. Last week, we talked about cannabinoids and what all those 6 different cannabinoids do and why THC percent is sort of kind of important. And while those are really a big topic and what the flower is made out of, and you really need cannabinoids to make this next topic work, terpenes is where you're going to get the flavor and what's going to drive the effects of the cannabinoids to give you those different feelings. Terpene percent is something that's really important, and I don't think that enough people talk about it. And I really wish that more dispensaries and more brands would put the terpene percentage on their labels. And when you're looking at terpene percent, it's gonna be something in the low range, like under 10%. And even that, like a 6 or 8 or 9% terpene, is still gonna be on the higher end. Don't get worried about trying to see a really high number there with the terpene percent. And you should always be able to ask the dispensary for the info charts on the brands that they provide, because all those licensing and batch information numbers on the side of your containers house all of that information for what terpenes, how much cannabinoids, and all of that other really good information. The terpenes will drive the flavor effect. They're strain specific, which means cannabinoids, they're found in all the flowers. Terpenes are only found in specific strains. While Blue Dream will have some terpene profile, Bubba Kush will have a completely different set of terpenes. And figuring out what terpenes you like and what strains have those terpenes are really gonna help you figure out the best materials for you. And while the THC percent is what's gonna get you that high feeling, the terpenes are gonna dictate what that high feeling is. Just like cannabinoids, where there's a bunch of different varieties, there are over 400 different varieties of terpenes. Terpenes are naturally occurring chemical compounds that can be found in all plants and some animals even. They're responsible for smells, flavors, and even sometimes colors of vegetation and all sorts of other things that we experience in life. And for cannabis, terpenes are really the smell and flavor of the flower itself. And not only are they just the smell and flavor, but they really can help navigate the effect and experiences that you're looking for. And a really popular one that's an easy example is lavender. Lavender has terpenes in it, and the terpenes that are in lavender are really what gives you that relaxing effect. And that same terpene called linalool is what gives you that relaxing experience with flower, and the same thing when you put lavender in an oil burner and smell it. It's all the same. Unlike cannabinoids, terpenes are not impacted by vaporization temperature. You'll get the terpenes no matter what temperature you vaporize at. Now, that being said, if you drop a dab in at 650, chances are you're going to destroy all the flavor and you won't experience the terpenes as much, but they'll still be there. Unlike cannabinoids, where you can control the cannabinoid that you experience by adjusting the vaporization temperature. And if you vape only at low temperatures, you'll never see the CBN. Now that we've talked about the basis of terpenes, let's jump into some of the different types. We have all these terpenes and all these names, but what exactly do they do within that plant? Well, it protects it from weather and sometimes even predators. As far as what terpenes do in humans, we're still figuring that out as we go. But as legalization happens and more research happens, we are learning more and more about what these wonderful things do. As for now, the big ones that scientists have pinpointed and kind of put some different benefits to are these right here. Beta-caryophyllene?
Beta-caryophyllene.
Whatever. This one right here can be found in cloves, hops, and rosemary, and is really an anti-anxiety and antidepressant. And an example of a strain this terpene can be found in is something like Super Silver Haze. Next up, beta-pinene. This is a terpene that I tend to enjoy. It's when you get that flower that smells like you have literally just walked into a big pine forest. That means it has beta-pinene in it. This can be an antidepressant, and it's really good for those people trying to battle cancer. And you'll find pinene in a strain like Blue Dream or OG Kush. You'll see some terpenes will be on both ends of the spectrum when it's coming to something of what people consider a sativa or an indica. Next up is limonene. This is another one of my really favorite terpenes. I'm not huge on lemons when it comes to having it in water or my food, but when it comes to flower, I love limonene. This is gonna be that really citrusy, lemony smell. It's gonna be an anti-anxiety and also help with anti-cancer. You'll find limonene in strains like Lemon OG, Wedding Cake, or any of those really citrusy ones. Next up, we have linalool. Linalool is going to give you that real calming lavender feel. It's going to be anti-stress, and this is a terpene that's really common in life. You can find this in anything from mint, coriander, and then in our world, you'll find it in LA Confidential or Granddaddy Purple. Next up, we have humulene. This is going to be a terpene that's very prevalent in sativas. It's found in ginseng and is going to be that energizing, giggly, really hyper kind of high energy feeling. And you'll find this in strains like Headband and Girl Scout cookies. And last up, we have myrcene. Myrcene, again, is a very common terpene that you'll find in things in life like mangoes and pineapples. And just because one of these things has one of these flavors doesn't mean that if it has myrcene in it, it's instantly gonna just taste like mangoes. It's just kind of a guideline of the flavors and effects that it's gonna have. Myrcene can act as an antifungal, an antibacterial, and a sedative. So this tends to be heavier in a lot of the indica heavy strains that you'll find, is where you'll feel that sedative myrcene. Then again, Blue Dream can also have myrcene in it. Just because a strain has one terpene doesn't mean that that's what it's locked to. It'll have a combination of some of these terpenes to make the flavor and effect profile in the flower. And that's part of what pheno hunting does and what growers really concentrate on to get all of these cool different strains that we've experienced over the years, is taking these terpenes and breeding the flower to get certain cannabinoids and certain terpenes to all intermingle to give us the stuff that we love. And last up, just because we've gone over all of these things and really these are a good guideline, brain chemistry is gonna play the biggest part in all of this. Just because I will consume something with a beta pinene in it that gives me an antidepressing feeling and kind of really uplifting could actually give somebody anxiety. And something like the really hard one to say, I just don't even like this terpene. And a lot of flower that has this terpene doesn't really make me feel great. Shockingly enough, I'm not a fan of cloves, hops, or rosemary. So it makes a lot of sense that just knowing my food dislikes, that I would not really enjoy this in my flower. And for me, I will always stick to something that has pinene, limonene, and myrcene. Those are my jam. Doing experimentation and finding out what terpenes really work with your brain chemistry and then dialing that in using THC and CBD percentage to really get the experience that you're looking for is how you become a next level enthusiast and someone who really can consider themselves a connoisseur. Thanks for sitting in on another deep dive. Hope you enjoyed Moo-U. As always, stay lifted and see you next time. Psst. Come hang out with us on Discord. Keep an eye out for some merchandise coming to an internet near you.